You know how fans will talk about our favorite teams potentially getting players that are available via free agency or trade, and it's usually like the big name guys, the guys with the most talent. And when we put out those wish lists of guys that we want, it usually comes with responses like, bro, come on. This ain't happening. Get your head out of your ass. Like, this ain't Madden. There's no chance. Well, for the Steelers, right now in 2024 with Omar Khan, I feel like we actually are playing Madden. And it's on easy mode. Like, even think back the last 10, 20 years with this Steelers organization. You know how many times there would be players out there that anyone with a decent IQ could just look at and say, yeah, the Steelers should probably be interested in that player. He's a big name, he's a talent, and the Steelers have a void to fill at that position. They should bring him in. Like, why wouldn't we do this? For example, I remember when Reworks was available, probably like 12, 13 years ago. Steelers were interested, but ultimately it never happened. Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, he was available like 3, 4 years ago. It kind of made sense, right? Potentially bringing him in. Didn't happen. And that's been the story. And you guys can even bring up other examples. Yeah, give me examples of free agents, big name free agents who have been available for the Steelers over the last like 10, 20 years. And we're sitting there like scratching our head like, why didn't we make that happen? Why didn't we fork up a couple extra bucks to get this dude in here? It would be worth it. But then we'd go just the more conservative approach and, bring in solid guys, but never made that like big splash move that you feel like would put you over to the top. Let me know some of the names you guys are thinking of. The two that came to mind, I already said, Darrelle Revis and Honey Badger. And ultimately, that's what would happen. Those players didn't sign here. There wasn't enough serious interest from the Steelers, and we'll just say to ourselves, like, wow, why even get our hopes up at this point? This isn't a Steelers type of signing. So, like, we could bring up our wish list. We could bring up some of the big-name players out there in free agency for positions in need. But typically, it comes with a caveat whenever we mention their name. Like, the top 2 or 3 guys, it's like, I want them. It would be awesome if we got them, but let's just be real. Steelers ain't getting them. We're going to get the guy that's, like, ranked 10th or 11th on a pretty decent contract. It's a contract that, okay, we tried somewhat, but it's something that doesn't kill our cap space, keeps us a little bit flexible for the future. It's a bargain. Good player, bargain, nothing wrong with it. But not going out of our way and eating at, big time fancy restaurant like Lamont. Now we're going, what would be like mid-tier, upper mid-tier type of restaurant. Maybe Cheesecake Factory. Nah, Cheesecake Factory's not bad. But maybe those are the typical type of signings we're making. Cheesecake Factory, or like a brew house, solid, steady, nothing wrong with it. Bro, why don't we play ball? Why don't we put ourselves out there a little bit more? And that's what I feel like we're doing right now, man. Like, that window of how the Steelers operated, that conservative Steelers approach, it feels like is out the window now. I don't even think we could say that anymore. We were getting signs of it with Omar in his first year, but now in his second year, it's really becoming a trend. This dude don't give a shit about the old way. You name a player that you think makes sense for the Steelers to sign, and I think there's actually a chance we get him. Whether we get him or not, I think it's like a legitimate thing that we're in play. Like, we were talking about potentially signing Justin Simmons, right? I think all of us had that feeling like Steelers are actually trying for him, right? Like, we are doing our full due diligence. We didn't get him, but we did get Deshaun Elliott. It just doesn't seem like any player out there with any type of name is too big, or whatever contract they want is necessarily too big, because if it is supposed to be a big contract, if that's what their market is, Omar Khan can negotiate it down. Omar Khan could make it work for us and work for the Steelers, a la Patrick Queen. We thought he was going to be getting $18 million. We get him for $13. I don't know exactly what his market is, but you get my point, man. Like, we're not going to be stupid about how we spend our money, but we're not going to just sit on the sidelines when we can take a splash, when it does make sense for us. And the latest rendition of this is Mike Williams. Like, you saw the news yesterday. Mike Williams will be visiting with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Williams, arguably the best receiver left out there in free agency. What do the Steelers have a need in right now? Receiver. All we have is George Pickens, Calvin Austin, and Van Jefferson on the roster. We need another receiver. And when we talk about the receivers out there, you look at the list, Mike Williams is at the top. We're not going to the 5th or 6th guy out there. No, let's get the top guy. Let's go for the 6'4" guy who averages 800 to 1,100 yards a season. Let's get him. Pair him up with George Pickens. Have our own, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin combo up here of big physical receivers that can high point the ball. Yeah, we could do that. With a Russ Wilson who could throw a good deep ball, I can see that making sense. In Arthur Smith's system where it is very run heavy, but when we pass, it's off play action. There's a lot of chunk plays. Yeah, 2 big receivers wouldn't hurt. It makes sense. And Mike Williams is the best receiver out there. And what do you know? It seems like there's mutual interest. It seems like there's a real chance the Steelers are going to be able to get him. First this offseason was Patrick Queen. Then the Steelers end up signing Russell Wilson for $1 million. Like, even that Russell Wilson signing, I think there was some of us that in the back of our minds are thinking like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's like almost a no-brainer move, but this isn't a Steeler type of move, right? Bringing in Russell Wilson, they're probably not actually going to be interested in it. We signed him. Kenny Pickett gets traded. We have a vacancy at QB2. Maybe we should go for Justin Fields. He's probably the best backup we could get out there. It makes too much sense. But there's no way we keep doing this, right? And get these big names and make these splash moves. We did it. Justin Fields. Now, again, we're at Mike Williams. And he's going to be meeting with us at the end of the week. He's interested in 2 other teams. It's the Carolina Panthers and the New York Jets. And we're going to be his last visit out of those 3. I think that spells good for us. I think you either want to be first or last, but in this case, just looking at the competition we have, I like our chances. This feels like he's going to check out the Panthers. He's going to check out the Jets. He's not going to sign anything because he really wants to see what the Steelers are offering here with Coach T and Russ being here and just the buzz and the excitement that's going around in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to wait it out. Whereas if we were first, I think maybe we could have locked up the deal. But since we're last, I feel like Mike Williams is going to want to do right by himself and see what our case is. See what we can offer him. So my prediction is he comes in here and he doesn't leave without a deal. Mike Williams will be a Steeler by the end of the week. And that'll be awesome. George Pickens, Mike Williams combo. I don't think we're done in the receiver room. I saw some reports today that a lot within the Steelers organization are mixed. There's some that want us to sign Tyler Boyd. There's some that don't. So if we get Williams, which if I had my pick right now, I would take Williams over Tyler Boyd. But I do still think with Williams, we need to get another receiver. I would go draft then. I would say I don't have to worry about Tyler Boyd in free agency. You got your 2 big outside guys. Maybe pick up a Roman Wilson out of Michigan in the 3rd. Get a slot receiver in the 3rd round. Have him compete with Calvin Austin and Van Jefferson, and may the best man win. We could live with that receiver room. But yeah, even if we don't sign Mike Williams, that's my prediction. I think it happens. I think we have the best opportunity. I think we have the best offering for him. I guess you could argue the Jets are the Jets, though. The Jets are just a mess. You got Aaron Rodgers coming off this Achilles. I don't know, man. You got Garrett Wilson there. He's going to be receiver 1. Who's the receiver 2? Nat Hackett is still their offensive coordinator over there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we definitely got the better situation over the Jets. Either way, you're going to be wide receiver 2. But here, man, and you don't got to play on that shitty Jets field, that shitty New York field. That's something to think about, too. We definitely have the better offering, I feel like, coming in here. Jets they're just a mess, man. They're just a mess. And then Panthers, forget it. Steelers could provide some stability, better chance at winning, in my opinion, more consistency. If that's what you're looking for, come here. And we got Russell Wilson. We got Justin Fields as the backup. We got a lot. We got a lot to offer. Good defense. Makes too much sense. You'll fit right in. Okay, enough with Mike Williams, though. Let's talk about Justin Fields. I guess I got my answer to the Justin Fields market question I was posing yesterday, kind of. Because we got him for a 6th. And I was just wondering, right? Like, if we got him for a 6th, what was his market actually? There were other teams interested. Apparently, the Eagles tried to make an offer for Fields. Like, did no one else offer anything better than a 6th? It felt like we fleeced the Bears, but, like, what was going on there? Were they just trying to do right by Fields and get him to a good situation? They passed up on better deals. And that looks to be the case because 4 other teams were in the mix. I don't know how many of them were better, but at least one was better. That's confirmed. But Fields and his agent didn't sign off on it because Fields wanted to be here in Pittsburgh. So the 6th was partly because Fields got to pick his spot. And also, I think, is because the Bears had a little less leverage due to that. Like, if Fields is saying, I only want to go to Pittsburgh, and the Bears were going to back up their word and saying, we want to do right by Justin, they want to honor that, then, yeah, your hands are kind of tied. Whatever the Steelers are offering, you kind of got to take. But I also assume that the other offers were somewhat close. Like, this is close to what Fields' market is right now. Because if you passed up on a 3rd-round pick from another team just because Fields wanted to go to the Steelers, that's just malpractice if you're a GM. Like, if it was a 5th-rounder, like, that was the better offer, and you're like, all right, it's close enough. Let's get Fields to a good spot. Let's get Fields to a place that he wants to be at. Then I understand that. I don't think the market was much more than a 5th. Maybe a 4th. I guess technically this could be a 4th. It is conditionally a 4th, depending on Justin Fields' playing time. But I think that's probably around what the deals were. Maybe another offer was a 5th that could potentially be a 3rd or potentially be a 4th, depending on Fields' playing time. So either way, it worked out for us. Perfectly worked out for us because, yeah, we have a need for QB2, or we had a need for QB2. And Justin Fields is probably the best guy we could get out there. Better than all the free agents, and I'd also say better than the quarterbacks that would potentially be available in the draft. Because right now, how it's looking, those 5 or 6 QBs might go before we even draft. So if we wanted one of those dudes, then we would have to trade up, which I don't want to do for a guy who's going to be a backup off the start. And then I wouldn't even feel that great about drafting a dude in the 2nd or 3rd round. Like, they got a couple guys there, like that dude Pratt, a couple of those small school guys that got some upside. I'd rather just roll with Fields. I'd rather give up a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields, even if it is a 1-year rental. I'll take that all day. So it worked out. No matter what Justin Fields' market actually was, the fact that the Bears did right by him and passed up on a better offer worked out well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And last, actually, yeah, let's just finish it off with Donte Jackson getting his contract reworked. I'll talk about Kenny Pickett and his message to the Steelers, and also react to some of his press conference that just went live, like, I think it was like 30, 40 minutes ago. I'll just do that all together tomorrow, because I was going to talk about Kenny's Instagram post today, but I think, yeah, I'd rather just save that for tomorrow. Let's talk about Donte Jackson getting his contract reworked. Basically, it remains a 1-year deal. The voided years are taken off. It's 1 year, 4.7 guaranteed, but now the cap hit is $6 million. It was originally like a $10 million cap. Something happened where I think he got some of his roster bonus money off the deal. So it helps the Steelers. And I don't know how much it helps Donte Jackson, but the fact that he was going to get cut by Carolina anyway makes it seem like there was maybe a wink or some sort of agreement between Jackson and the Steelers when he was getting traded. Like, all right, if we're going to trade for you, Khan and the Steelers are like, if we're going to trade for you, we're going to have to rework this deal somehow a little bit. Like, we won't just completely rip it up. We'll give you a chunk of change. We'll try to give you some fair market value here. But you got to help us out a little bit. All right? Like, we want to keep you. We're not going to trade for you and then cut you or anything like that. Like, we're going to keep you. We want you to be here. You got a spot on this 53 if all goes well in the offseason. Potentially be our cornerback too, which is what it's looking like right now. We got to rework this deal. And that's what happened. So, yeah, it works out. And if Donte Jackson has a good year here, I think he's still young enough. He could hit the market up again. Maybe we could re-sign him next offseason for another year or two, and he could get more money in his pocket. So, yeah, I don't think there's definitely nothing wrong with this from the Steelers side. We saved cap space, and for Donte Jackson's side, I guess he might be getting a little less money, but I don't know if he's getting more guaranteed up front, but maybe it's less overall for the total year, if that makes sense. Good for the Steelers, though, for sure. And I guess good enough for Donte Jackson because we've seen some of his quotes. We've seen him talking about how he's happy to be here in Pittsburgh and that the Steelers were really interested in him over the last couple of years and that he's excited to work with JPJ. So, yeah, I think this is a good match so far. But that's it for this edition of me talking Steelers ball and what's going on in the Steelers news. But stay chilling, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about Kenny Pickett, his Eagles press conference, and what else? I don't know what else is good. I still got some other topics that are on the back burner from over the weekend. Maybe we'll get to Devin Bush signing with the Browns. There's a couple other things. But stay chilling. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, peace out.